Hello, welcome to the JCBS Multi-Tier Systems of Support, MTSS, Toolkit on Classroom Systems that Support Student Behavior, System 5. Today we'll be discussing the topic of classroom management, classroom behavioral practices. My name is Josh Consul, and here today we have Latoya Bryant. We both work through MTSS, Behavioral Systems, Resource Teachers for Zone 2 elementary schools. In the title, you will also find access to Toolkit 5 in its entirety, which is full of high-yield practices, applications, and vignettes on classroom systems that support student behavior. Please take a moment to type the case-sensitive bit.ly into your web browser. This will allow you access to all the information and links for the future reference. This is an alignment between the 6 systems and 3 pillars in JCPS. This shows you our 3 pillars: culture, climate, racial equity, backpack with skills, and how we support it with these 6 systems. Also, it shows how MTSS supports the 6 systems work in collaboration with our multiple departments. Outlined here are the components of MTSS and how they align with our work within schools. And here's a concept map of the MTSS department. There are 2 main areas: CDLI, Curriculum Design and Learning Innovation, with MTSS Academic, led by Donna Lawson, and then Culture and Climate, which is MTSS Engagement, MTSS Behavior. MTSS Engagement is led by Dr. Nomi Brahim. MTSS Behavior is led by Sandra Hensel. We also work with SEL and Trauma-Informed Care, which is led by Shalonda Gates. Here are the 6 MTSS toolkits. By clicking the toolkit image, you will access the MTSS department webpage and each toolkit. 5, classroom systems that support behavior, is the one we'll look at today. Teachers use academic and behavioral data to prescribe short and long-term supports for students to meet and exceed standards and strengthen their sense of belonging. Our learning intentions today will be to develop deeper learning or deeper understanding of classroom systems and practices that support student behavior. The 3 practices are physical environment, classroom management plan, and active supervision. The first classroom practice is arranging the physical space of the classroom. Not all classrooms are the same shape, so what one teacher does in their room may not be conducive to your classroom setting or needs. Make sure you are arranging the space so all students can see, hear, move freely, and engage to maximize learning and allow for active supervision. Effective arrangement of the physical environment, increase on-task behavior, increases perception of safety, supports respect of others' personal space, makes it easier to use the curriculum visuals, allows for teacher movement, which is active supervision. Know that you can and should change your class arrangement as needed for different types of instruction or activities. As you change your room around, remember to make sure all students can see, hear, move freely, and engage to maximize learning and allow for the active supervision. When thinking about setting up the physical environment, there are some reminders, including keeping high traffic areas free from congestion and making sure all students can see and be seen. Please take a moment to read all the important reminders and the considerations. Before we move on, check out this video clip of an example of utilizing seating arrangements.
As this teacher mentioned, assigned seats aren't necessarily something that needs to be done on the first day of school. But there will be times when assigning seats may be an appropriate strategy. In these cases, there are a couple of important points to consider. First, if you can help it, Don't make seating changes obviously in response to individual students. Second, try not to change seats during the middle of a class. Instead, use proximity for the day and make your seating change at the beginning of the next period. Watch how this teacher makes the assignments in what appears to be a random matter, not singling out any students.
Hey guys, look for your name on the board. We have a new seating assignment today. Just look for your name on the board. Find your seat. Look for your name on the board and find your new seat. Look for your name on the board, guys, girls. We've got new seats today. Welcome, everybody. All right. Talking about moving seats around. Some of you guys sit by your buddies all the time and you have a good time, but it's good to get to know other people and get to know a little bit about your classmates. I've been in bigger classes where people don't even know people in their own class. I know the seating arrangement's a little bit different, but the ideal here is for you to sit by different people instead of the same people all the time. So this is just an opportunity for us to grow as a community, right? All right. Our question today is, how have you created depth in your artwork? So, we're going to look at that question and make sure that we are on task in answering that. And I had Isaiah say that he knew how to answer this. So, Isaiah, how would you restate the word or the question there? Hey guys, we made some changes again to our seating arrangements. Mixed it up a little bit this time. So look for your new seats. All right, come on in, find your new seats. We changed it up again. Look up on the board for your new seats, guys. We made some new changes to our seating arrangements. There you go. Look for your name up here and find your seat. All right, this is a little bit different than what we've been doing. Mixed it up again so that you all can see what's going on. We talked about why we're doing this. So, guys, have a seat.
In the case that you are leading a virtual learning environment, we will still need to make sure our students are learning in the best environment possible. As teachers, we can encourage our students to follow these 3 steps to create a successful learning area. Step 1, choose a space. When choosing a space, make sure it is comfortable and that it is flexible to evolve for what works best. Step 2, get ready to learn. Make sure the space is clean, uncluttered, and clear from distractions. Step 3, promote good learning. Be available for supervision, questions, and helping the students stay on track and focused. Also foster positive communication and interaction. These are ways you, as a teacher, can encourage families and guardians to have a successful learning space. For more details on how to help your families and guardians, click the link below.
So now we're going to have the second classroom practice is classroom management. Classroom management is a dependable system of expectations and procedures that provide structures for students and helps them to be engaged with instructional tasks. Teaching expectations and routines to students at the beginning of the year and enforcing them consistently across time increases student academic achievement and task engagement. It is important that we actually teach students the expectations and routines as we would teach them content. We do not want to just read them off of a poster once and expect them to learn it. Clearly stating expectations and consistently supporting them lends credibility to a teacher's authority. Reviewing expectations between activities, before transitions, or lunch is always best practice. So there are 3 components to having effective classroom management plans. Begin by referring to your school-wide expectations. Your school probably has an acronym like ROAR, which may stand for respect, ownership, attitude, responsibility, to represent school expectations. Take those school-wide expectations to develop your classrooms. Remember, the more consistent you can be, the more meaningful it will be to the classroom. Once you have classroom expectations established, Develop explicit routines for the classroom to make sure all students are on the same page and have the tools to feel successful and safe. Take a minute to review what each component looks like in this diagram. Now, let's take a glance at these examples and non-examples of classroom expectations. You should notice the examples are more specific and tell the students what they need to do versus a general "be safe" statement. So an example would be, raise your hand and wait for permission to speak. A non-example would be, respect authority, be ready to learn. Now, let's take a look at routines and procedures. Classroom procedures are automated steps for a group or individual task. Routines are procedures that have become habits. You should be able to notice again how specific they are and can be aligned to school-wide expectations. Now, the next you will see is a video clip. And this video clip shows teachers discussing the importance of having set expectations and some things to consider.
School and classroom expectations start as the basic parameters we set for student behavior. Things like respect for others and being responsible. But instruction requires more explicit examples of behaviors that clarify the expectations. For example, the expectation might be responsible, which is defined as being accountable for your actions. This is taught using examples that demonstrate maintaining control to do the right thing for your well-being and the well-being of your school. This is what we teach to every student, and it is part of the culture of the school. But the expectations are specific to locations or conditions. So we teach students to be to class on time, to keep moving during hallway passing, and to complete their assigned work, all as examples of the be responsible expectation. Further, by the time students get to middle and high school, they should definitely be familiar with such basic expectations. However, we can't afford to make this assumption. Some may have been taught different expectations at home, and others may be aware of the expectations, but seem to often forget.
I think that some of the disruption can also be cultural, because I've had some kids that are generally just loud, or they curse in regular conversation, and so I try to explain to them, hey, we don't do that here, and I'll call mom, she's loud, and she curses. So, a lot of it is the home life and the culture, like, okay, I understand now why you cuss at me in casual conversation like I'm one of your buddies, because you cuss at your mom like that when you have casual conversation with her.
Say the end of the day is where I feel like we see it a lot. I mean, even today a kid said it's 1:45, it's almost the end of the day, and I was like, no, we still have almost 30 minutes, of learning to do. And so, they get to that last period and they kind of forget about all the expectations, that we've worked so hard to set forth for them the rest of the day.
It is critically important that all school-wide and classroom expectations be tied to larger conceptual expectations. That is, whenever we talk to a student about what we expect, we should frame it as connected to one of the larger school expectations that have been taught as part of PBIS. When we don't do this, the students come to see your expectations as random and arbitrary. And research has shown that such disconnected expectations will often be forgotten within 30 seconds.
So setting behavior expectations are important because it eliminates power struggles. It helps students to understand what is expected, decreases anxiety, allows students to monitor themselves and begin to take more responsibility while gaining a sense of safety and security. And it also helps your students spend more time on task and academic learning time increases. So active supervision is the third classroom practice we will look at. It is a highly proactive practice of moving continuously, scanning all areas of the setting, and interacting positively with authenticity. Take a minute to look at the examples of what this may look like in a classroom. So there are three components to active supervision. If you are moving throughout the space, you are using proximity to monitor, support, and be present. While scanning, you should visually sweep areas consistently to monitor, prevent, and/or reinforce behavior. While moving and scanning, you should be interacting frequently and providing feedback to students to reinforce, prevent, or teach academic and behavioral skills. So active supervision is an important classroom practice, whether in virtual learning or face-to-face learning. It is imperative because it creates frequent opportunities to monitor students for success or for need of prompting. It facilitates relationships building and creating opportunities for interaction between teacher and students. And active supervision also can anticipate and prevent known triggers for students while providing a sense of safety and frequent opportunity for relationship development. Next, you will see a video clip involving ways to think through active supervision.
Also, discuss whether and how you have used any assigned seating. Discuss your experiences with student seating arrangements. The final component of our arrangement of the physical environment involves how we move, place ourselves, and communicate as the teacher. Physical proximity refers to the degree to which the teacher moves around to be close to each student on a regular basis. This doesn't mean that the teacher must make eye contact. Simply moving nearby is an effective practice. But once the teacher is in close proximity, the opportunity for reminders, praise, or just a smile is there for the taking. Much of what we're talking about here is called active supervision. This refers to how teachers are able to maintain attention to the entire classroom as they go about all the activities that make up a teacher's day. Effective teachers must be able to keep moving and scanning to be aware of all students. One of the key advantages of proximity is that it allows the teacher to have personal contact with students in a private manner. Personal and private contact is far less likely to elicit a challenge than is a public reprimand. In fact, a major consideration of any response to students is the tone of the teacher's voice. The teacher should never be visibly upset, angry, or frustrated by students. We are simply sorry that the student made a bad choice.
And one thing that I'll add to that is that we're so used to using our teacher voice that, can go across your whole classroom, that sometimes I feel like teachers, and I've learned this myself over all my years, is that if I'm talking to a kid one-on-one about an issue, I need to lower my voice. And just the tone of just the loudness of your voice and the volume can totally change the situation of a conversation. So I think that's something that I've learned over the years personally, and I think even within like the hallways and stuff, a quick "can you please take your hood down" is different than please take your hood down, Johnny,
Yeah, in front of
in
all of
front of
his
all the
friends.
kids, so.
And when you make that one-on-one connection, they're less likely to fire back at you.
In addition to proximity and voice tone, effective teachers develop a knack for scanning all students on a regular basis. We call this active supervision, and it simply refers to the teacher being constantly aware of what all students are doing by maintaining clear sight lines wherein all students are in view on a very frequent basis. Sometimes we refer to this as the move and scan, never stopping for too long in any position with students out of sight. Watch these examples of teachers using active supervision. See if you can spot the one teacher that gets stuck in a position where not all students are in easy view. One simple rule of thumb is called the 1-second rule. Using this logic, the students should all assume that the teacher is able to make eye contact with any of them within less than 1 second if needed. Of course, that does not mean that there will be eye contact with everyone every second, only that the teacher is aware enough so that it could happen.
Hey, guys, get to work. Come on. So laborers and farmers.
Active supervision is important because it provides for more frequent eye contact with students. Effective teachers are masters at using eye contact to prompt appropriate behavior. Watch how these teachers use their eye contact to prompt students.
All right, so according to this testimony, which remember was gotten under torture, so probably not true, it says that she killed the kid and she sucked his blood out. And why'd she do that? Because it says right here, the evil one, the devil, came to her in disguise and told her to do it. Now, once again, she's being tortured and saying this.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's go ahead and go to lunch.
Consider some challenging students with whom you regularly interact. What are some possible ways that you might be able to use proximity, voice, and eye contact to prompt desired behavior without a
The 3 classroom practices that support student behavior are all interconnected and work together in order to create a successful classroom with a safe learning environment. Hopefully you have begun to think and take notes on each practice and are able to find ways to embed them into your classroom, both for virtual learning and face-to-face learning. Please reflect on the 3 classroom practices you have discussed in the presentation. Consider these reflection questions. What is one thing you're taking away? What has reinforced or challenged your thinking from today? What questions do you have? For more information or questions, please feel free to contact Dr. Naomi Bryan. Her email address is down below. Thank you for joining us today to look at classroom systems that support student learning. For more information on each classroom practice, you may visit the link referenced in each title. There are several links provided for you if you need more information on the MTSS Behavior Classroom Management modules, the Behavior Choice Board for virtual learning, and the MTSS toolkits with other high-yield practices. Have a great day.